Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Distil-Nation NZ podcast. My name is Tom, and to my right is my friend Cameron.
Great
Cameron.
to be here, as always.
We are recording part two of our interview with Sara, which
Exactly.
I'm correcting it this time because I've said it wrong, so I'm very sorry. But the last time we got to talk about sort of drinking culture, right, and how that's been changing, and this time I want to see where it's changing to. What is changing?
We've just got to put some respect on the name to say that Sara is coming to us as a global drinks expert, having worked for some of the biggest names around the world, and I'm excited to hear about what is happening at that upper level. The names that we talk about, like the Diageo and the Campari, and you know, what we see as these, massive global.
I think sometimes
conglomerates.
we sit here and think they're like Mr. Burns, in
Yes.
their big tower, like,
That was the picture that
Give
I
us
was
your
trying to
money.
paint the other time.
send the dogs,
And
like.
didn't get there. And so having worked for some of these companies, to hear about what local consumers and local producers, what we can learn from
Yeah.
them, and having you bring that global expertise to us. Welcome, Sara.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I don't know how to start this one, but like, I mean, I've written questions, but I don't know what's the best way to start it. But
Let's hit the first question.
flavor trends.
Flavour trends.
Let's talk about that. Right into it.
Cool. So there's lots going on in flavour. Very similar to the previous conversation. When it comes to creating new variants and flavour, the big brands, they don't just decide, oh, this is the flavour we're going to go for. They go back and they understand the consumer. What is the consumer, how they're feeling, what's happening, why are they demanding new flavours? So you take a step back, you almost go super wide, and it has a lot to do with what's going on in the world. It's always societal and economic. And there's this whole new trend, which is pretty exciting and fun, called neo-hedonism. And it's new hedonism. So what consumers are seeking is that they're seeking small moments of joy. And they're how it used to be. So we used to almost save up our joy. We used to hold on to a beautiful bottle of whiskey or a beautiful bottle of champagne for that big exciting moment. It could be landing a new job, buying a house, graduating. Well, now a lot of Gen Z can't afford to go to university. The chances of them buying a house are pretty much slim to none. And it's really hard getting a job right now. So you need to, what they do is they go out and they seek those little moments of joy in the everyday. So maybe it's worshipping the sunrise, the sunset, celebrating the end of the week. And within there, you've got brands that are creating these new, and through that they're exploring new cultures and new flavours, and they're doing that from home again because they can't always afford to travel, and that's evolving and changing what's happening within they're demanding from cocktails. So the biggest sort of the number one trend that's probably been happening now for a number of years is the spicy trend. So the spicy margarita. So if they're going to have a drink, they want something that packs a bit of a punch, is a bit more exciting. So they're moving into the worlds of spicy margaritas. And now so that's been set in stone, and now what you find is they're starting to play around with the spicy margarita, and they're adding different flavors within that. So what's really hot right now is the mango spicy margarita. And so it's almost like that they're using the drink experience as a form of escapism. And they also want to explore new flavors and be excited and have something to talk about. They want they want to talk about an experience of their Monday morning at work. They don't want to talk about something they've bought. They want to talk about when they went and had a great cocktail that had maybe an out-of-the-world garnish with a crazy flavour they didn't expect. And they want to show you photos of it. And it's called the experience economy. The social get-together is they want to, it's the currency of the conversation. And so what you're finding there is you've got really weird, wacky, exciting flavours happening. They also aren't like sickly and sweet. They're almost like umami as well. So I've seen recently that you've got some gins that have come out that have like pizza flavouring.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that.
You've seen some really cool collaborations with like Kahlua and Dunkin' Donuts. So yeah, it's just like, so that they're going out, they want like cool new flavors that then get put into an interesting cocktail that has something to talk about and can be unexpected. So also what's like quite trending in that space as well is like clarified cocktails that are like creamy but are completely translucent.
Right. Do you think these ones are more like one-offs though? Is it just like is it an experience? Yeah, I'm going to buy the Krispy Kreme vodka once, but is it just done and, I'm never going to buy it again?
You say that. So there's been a trend in across, especially North America, and it's moving into Europe, called the dirty soda trend, and where people are, and they like almost indulging daily in this like little small moment of like pleasure, and they're getting they sound a bit gross, but they're actually quite tasty. So they're getting like a cola, they're adding some sort of cream to it, and you're getting a lot of like coconut cola drinks. So Dr. Pepper just brought out a creamy coconut Dr. Pepper flavour, which is surprisingly good, but that's come from people like creating and crafting their own drinks that way. You're getting people mixing the soda with something creamy and then pouring in some sort of like different flavour variant over ice, and they put them on TikTok, and there's lots of stirring with the straw, and it's like moment of indulgence, and that has been that's been on TikTok now for probably about 3 years. So it's not really going anywhere. People are still doing that. They're still crafting and creating their non-alcoholic dirty sodas, and then that's influencing like the cocktail world.
Right. Wow, that's quite interesting. I don't think I've ever tried a creamy mix like that, to be honest. That's quite cool.
Well, so what's also happening is the rise of nostalgia. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of the Y2K fashion that's happening with Gen Z, and a lot of Gen Z. I've read a really scary stat recently around how they don't want to can't be bothered saving for can't be bothered. Don't see the point in saving for their retirement because they don't think the earth will be here when they go to retire. So it's almost like they're looking back to days where things just seemed a bit more happier and a bit more simpler, and that's very much the thinking behind the Y2K trend. And so you've got a lot of the cocktails from like even the 70s and the 80s, but definitely the 90s, like coming back into
definitely
the noughties, like back into fashion. So a great one there is the pina colada. The pina colada is having a great resurgence. My nieces love a pina colada when I go out with them to the bar, and they're getting quite elaborate as well. So you're getting like whole pineapples that have been scooped out, and they've got this like creamy pina colada in there. But they're also, it's not just pure nostalgia, it's nostalgia with a bit of like an innovative twist. So you find that you might have like a pina colada, but they've got a carbonated like mixer in there just to add a bit of a different flavour. And Captain Morgan has brought out a whole range of RTDs that are like, I think they're called slice carta, like they've got a play on the words of pina colada. 3 different flavour variants, and they are the rum creamy flavour. They've got strawberry from memory, they've got the original, and they've got like a third one, and it's just that like that play and that sort of like within that world of like, doing something a little bit elaborate, a little bit different, something worth a conversation, but still has that like lens of today on it by adding like that carbonation.
That is great. Like this, to me, this is quite eye-opening because I feel like this is one of those situations where New Zealand, I always say it, is like 5 years, 10 years behind North America and Europe in this sort of stuff. And like I haven't heard of any of this happening in New Zealand, really. Like
it is a little bit. Like you are, like if you go out with a Gen Zer, like it's interesting what they order. I have 2 Gen Z nieces, and going to and because I'm paying, they sort of like they order quite freely, And yeah, it just what they order off the menu, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And they love a martini. So the martini has really so they go for that creamy, fruity, like they've got the there standing in the bar with like literally a whole pineapple. And again, like we were talking about Gen Z before. So Gen Z are really juxtaposed. Like they live on the opposite end. Like the one person can like live on each end of the spectrum. So they can be so like we can have dinner and they can be like very, very like calorie conscious about their dinner, and then they go and have like a pina colada that like probably had more calories than their actual dinner.
Yeah.
And be absolutely like, and I'm like, say something to them and they're like, they just don't care. Like it's just like whatever, like that was dinner, this is my drink. And they go for like something creamy and sweet and like over the top, and then they'll go for like a martini, and you're just like, oh okay, like
that's a big jump.
Yeah, it's a real big jump,
Yeah.
but that's just what Gen Z do, and they're quite unapologetic about it. So you see Tanqueray's just partnered with Sarah Jessica Parker actually, and the reason they've partnered with her is because she just like Sex and the City and the noughties and the whole like, so she very much was like the Cosmopolitan, but they've moved from the Cosmopolitan to the Martini, and she's this whole play on, the whole campaign is playing on her character in the Sex and the City when she was younger, and they're doing like different flavoured, like I suppose the Espresso Martini is definitely the hero within the Martini category, but they're doing like lychee martinis become super trendy.
Oh yeah.
And there's like another third martini that she's also pushing, but I can't remember it right now. But yeah, they just the old sort of like cocktails of that time are coming back into fashion.
Yeah, just with their twists.
That sort of modern twist. So there might be an element of like, I don't know, they've added some like ashwagandha to it or something like that, just to have like a wellness element. Or they've added some carbonation to the pina colada, just so it's like that nostalgic drink, but with like that modern day today twist.
I think we do need to get some more Gen Zs on, maybe, because I'm feeling old right now, to be honest. I feel like we're usually up on this stuff, but now I feel completely left out of it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's all well and good if you've got some nieces, but kind of just going down to the market and going, hello, are you Gen Z?
Yeah.
Can I go to a bar with you? Yeah. I feel like I would end up on a watch list fairly quickly.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going out on a stretch because I'm trying to tie everything back in. But if we're going for the traditional flavours with a bit of a twist, and I'm going through and using this as an opportunity to introduce Sarah to more New Zealand spirits,
Praise.
I brought along with me Thomson with Manuka smoke rings.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So that's the two-tone, right? Is it?
No.
No?
This is...
this is the actual... Okay, yeah. Got it.
So we've got some of the traditional whiskey flavours, but we're putting that Kiwi twist on there with a little bit of Manuka smoke.
And
so
I was going to pull into this because I was wondering what you might think about the New Zealand flavours, you know, like, because of course we all know there's pineapple and all these beautiful sweet things you get everywhere, but what about like New Zealand? Where's New Zealand going to shine through this? Is it something like Manuka, or is it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So flavour and the provenance of flavour is super like everyone's all about that at the moment as well. So yes, you can like have I think the biggest opportunity actually, and I don't know why we don't seem to, like when we're talking about before, and the day cap and the fact that people want sort of like more of a spritz drink, it's very difficult to go, like there seems to be so many gins in New Zealand, but you go to a bar and you can't seem to get yourself a New Zealand gin and tonic. Yeah. And so you can't get like the New Zealand gin and you can't get the New Zealand tonic, and then if there was some sort of like garnish that was like locally sourced, I just think like that like would tell like a beautiful wrapped up story. So you've got like the New Zealand flavours, the New Zealand tonic, and then like selling that like New Zealand provenance. So like you think about when you go to a restaurant and they'll tell you about everything that's like on the menu and where it's all been sourced, and they bring up the plate and they tell you about everything, like where they're very, very proud to be like a New Zealand plate of food, but we don't seem to be very, very, like we don't push the New Zealand cocktail. And it's
Even
also-
the wine, you're very proud to show that you've got New
totally.
Zealand wine. Yeah.
And they might even like name drop like who works there, and it's great. I love it. Like I'm totally here for it.
Yeah.
The more you tell me a story of something, the more I buy into it, and like the better it tastes straight away. But we don't do that with our spirits.
No.
And then like we talk about how like the spritz category is its own category in itself. Well, the spritz cocktail is its own category in itself now, but we don't have anything that's like so like just New Zealand. Like, why can't we do something with an interesting spritz that, like, you know, like they, like in London even, they have like some of the bars have like bee hives on the roof, and they have their own like living wool for garnishes. Like, and that's in the middle of a major city. Like, we could do something like that here. Like, just can we create a New Zealand spritz, a New Zealand gin and tonic? Like, can we do that? Yeah, just tell the story of the liquid and the provenance and the regionality through the cocktail, like we do with like wine is a great example, and like a plate of food.
That's got to be done. You know, I think we've hammered that home lots, and Pint of Order is a great example of somewhere that should be 100% Kiwi, but it needs to happen more often. More often than not, I go to a restaurant and I'm excited. It's a fancy restaurant, you know, here and there. And I'm like, great, I'm having a steak tonight. It's a special occasion. And I go look at the spirits page and I'm like, oh, it's Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to apologise. This is the two-tone, but with a wood smoke.
It is.
The
Okay.
Manuka added.
Yeah, okay.
So it's that lovely blend. So the Thomson two-tone, it's got the lovely fruitier flavours there. It is a blended whiskey, and so this is the same kind of ex-bourbon and sherry.
I can't remember, to be honest.
But there, with a wood smoke Manuka
that's
going
good.
through. It's certainly not their most heavily smoked whiskey.
No.
This is definitely
Yeah.
on the lighter end of the scale in terms of what they're producing, but I find lovely kind of balanced mix of flavors.
That's great. Yeah, what I'd love to see also, because I just love an old fashioned, I would love to see like a New Zealand old fashioned, even like they could do like New Zealand bitters, like just have it on the menu. Like I almost need to go and like have a look at them, like what's in the back bar. And more often than not, there is no New Zealand whiskey. Hence why we had this conversation around like I was asking like, Cam what's his favourite New Zealand whiskies were, just because I need to go out and try some more.
And where do you want to start? You know?
Well, that's, I said I'm not going to name one. I'm going to name you a list.
Yeah.
And Sarah took her credit, pulled out a pen, and started writing.
Oh, good job! Wow.
But then I've like tried to look for them, and you go to restaurants here, and they very much sell like a local plate of food, and then they might talk about like a wine from like somewhere within like 100k like region, but they won't sell you a local cocktail.
No. Yeah. It's a shame, isn't it? I do think Manukas, and I'll harp home about this to the end of days, but I think
beautiful.
Manukas are our ticket forward in the future for New Zealand, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's whiskey, we've got the Manuka honey, we've got so many options with Manuka that it's right there, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you do it. We've seen the Manuka aged whiskey, we've talked about that, which gets rid of the smoke, or you can just smoke it, and you've got a totally unique flavor again. You can add Manuka honey to it, and you sweeten it up. I mean, so many options. But
Yeah, I think there is most definitely room for someone more clever than me to a Manuka whiskey with a touch of Manuka honey, and whether it's a sour, whether it's an old fashioned or something, I really feel there's room there to really tell a story and to bring something together.
And for someone that's lived overseas for the last 20 years, like New Zealand is known for its Manuka honey.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and people like, so I have, my brother lives in Germany, and his in-laws, like, oh my gosh, like there is no price they will not pay for New Zealand Manuka honey. Like, it's just, it's something that's so special for New Zealand, and like they know all the health benefits because Germans love all that, and they like, and actually his in-laws were here this week, and they're taking home honey.
Yep, got to. I even remember in Canada when I had learned about it, and then I learned about how good it was for you, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's expensive, and I was like, it can't be that good. Like
For the medical grade stuff, oh yeah.
No, but just Manuka honey outside of New Zealand is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's good, like 4 or 5 times more expensive than other honey on the shelf.
Now, other than like the new category of spritz, which is quite
Yeah.
cool, what do you think like the trend is in spirits? Because I've been hearing it's more like rum, agave, tequila.
Yeah, definitely.
sort of
So when we were talking about pellets, so our pellets develop. So we had for a number of years, vodka-based cocktails that were very much like, an unflavoured base that we'd build around, and we'd add a bit of like fruit or sourness or like spiciness within the cocktail. Then we had the gin renaissance. Like, oh my God, like there was gin everywhere, and people started, like I mentioned, like with the Gordon's gin, that was like the entry level gin, and then they started exploring with like a fruitier type of gin, say as a Tanqueray, or they went to something that was a bit more like cardamom-y, so they went towards like a Bombay. So people started like working their way through the white spirit categories. Once they sort of like started developing that palate and getting a bit more sophisticated, then you had the tequila started becoming like super popular, and you've got some of the more interesting flavour profiles of tequila and mezcal probably drink more like a darker spirit. So they drink more like, especially you get a bit more like peaty, especially some of those amazing mezcals that come from around that volcanic region in Mexico, which is just like phenomenal. Nothing like one of my favourite drinks is a mezcal margarita. Like the peatier the better. Like a hard work drink, but I love it. I also love a very peaty whiskey. And so they're all sort of like now feeding into, people have explored those white spirit categories, and now you've got people moving into the brown liquid. So like rums and whiskies are very much having a moment. And rum is like such a diverse category. So like if you can enter that category with like maybe like something a bit more easy drinking, like a daiquiri. And then you can start moving into that sort of like that sipping rum category. And from there, it's very easy to go from like a sipping rum to a sipping whiskey. We've also found that as much as we sort of like to, what sounds like you guys like, not mock fun or like sort of look to the big drinks company and think they're sitting there in the Mr. Burns office. A lot of the big drinks companies own a lot of whiskies, so they get a lot of margin. They get double margin on the whiskey. So, for instance, they might only have part ownership of like a gin or a vodka, but they're 100% owner of the whiskey. So it makes sense for them to really push the whiskey category. And they're really, because then they get double margins, and it just makes them a lot more money. Especially right now, the big drinks company are having a lot of challenges. I don't know if you follow their share prices, but it's a tough time out there for the big drinks companies. And so they push the whiskies, and how they do that is they do entry-level cocktails like we're talking about. So they do a lot of like the long serves with the whiskies, a lot of long serves with the rums, to again get people in there, start developing the interest, so they can start like their own sort of like exploration, develop their palates, and then get into those more interesting flavour profiles with like a single malt or something a bit more peaty. But the dark liquids are definitely having a moment right now, which is awesome.
I'm glad to hear it's still going. That's quite good. And what's your take then on like local ingredients? You know, if you're going to a bar in like New York or London, are they wanting the local thing still?
Yep.
You know,
100%.
Yeah.
Any liquid that can tell a story. Like again, you have a lot of the bars that are moving into almost like the space of food, where you've got the like a very well paid mixologist is almost like on par with like a very well trained like chef, and they love working with liquids that have like the story, where you can understand like if there is transparency around every element of the recipe, like the ingredients in the recipe, like they love that. They also like, you've got some that really want to know like the embodied CO2 of the liquid and how far everything is traveling. What's become super popular in London and New York is to create cocktails that are of like the terroir, or the where the liquid comes from, and so you've got that side, but then you've also got the other side where they're making like hyper local cocktails, maybe taking like, they could be using like a New Zealand gin for instance, but then everything else that goes into that liquid comes within a 1 square mile radius of their bar. So again, they might have like Some have the beehives on the roof, or they might use a local like honey from somewhere like local. A lot of them are buying the like a lot of them have living garnishables, which I absolutely love, or they might have their own gardens where they're growing the garnish. But that whole local element of the cocktail, and that the cocktail tells the story of the liquid, or they can tell the story of the cocktail that's somehow linked to that bar. It goes back to giving the bartender something to be able to sell to the consumer, because you're selling the experience, you're not just selling the liquid. And back to what I was saying, like, if you tell me a story, I like the food even before I've tried it. And that's the same with like the cocktail. Like, we need to be able to give the bartender something, like just an awesome story to be able to sell and have that conversation with someone standing at the bar, or if they're doing table ordering.
And one of the big things that, like we talked about in the last episode, sustainability.
Yeah.
Is that actually important to people, or has
Yeah.
it just become a bit more of a buzzword, and are people focusing on it in theory, but then it's just actually, not selling in practice, or what's the deal there?
There are some really powerful stats around consumers that will spend at least 20% more on a product that's more sustainable. In a cost of living crisis, they might move away from the more sustainable product because their budgets are tight. But once they feel that they've got themselves in a situation where they're not as longer conscious about their budget, they'll move back into the more sustainable product. So when it comes to brands, if you have sustainability authentic claims that you can validate and prove, then you are well within your rights to start charging more for that product, because the consumers will pay a good chunk more for it. I think it's around 30% more they're willing to pay for something that is more sustainable. And yeah, so right now it was all the rage, and it's what we very much focused on, I suppose, pre-Trump, across Europe and North America. And we weren't just giving it lip service. It wasn't just I want a PR campaign. It was looking at everything, because the really unsexy side of sustainability is how goods are moved around the world. That's the biggest embodied CO2 cost. So it's around, we used to do projects where we were looking at the honeycomb weave of cardboard to try and maybe eliminate some of the packaging in the cardboard, to get rid of some of those the little balls that are made of is it polystyrene balls and things like that. Yeah. Or we would look at a bottle shape, maybe how can we maybe tweak a bottle if we're going to do a whole new branding, so it could sit in a box better and have less packaging and less breakage. And how could we make sure that we get markets to do better at ordering, so they're not air freighting, they're actually going on a boat. So that's the real unsexy side of sustainability. But it has the biggest impact. And then you could go and you could have some really great sustainability credentials and maybe get yourself a B Corp certification. So yes, it's super important. But as I mentioned, a lot of companies, especially some of the smaller guys, do all the work with getting the right water, getting the right ingredients, doing the right thing within their own facility, but then they let themselves down that last final moment. So maybe they've got a super heavy bottle, and if someone's sustainability conscious, they know that bottle is going to be heavy and cost a lot in terms of CO2 to move around the world. There's also, I see the biggest fail when it comes to branded merchandise in store. So you have a lot of really beautiful cardboard elements that have maybe some gold foil, which makes that cardboard, you can't recycle it. And so you've put all the work in, you've told this great story online, and then someone goes into the store and they see a cardboard, a freestanding unit that has a mend of cardboard and plastic that can't be separated, and then you've got some gold foil on there. So you just let yourself down at that very last moment where the critical moment of choice takes place. You've built up all of that mental availability around your brand, and it comes to the consumer getting there and buying it, and then you've just let yourself down by not doing a couple of small, simple, making sure that you're using the right inks, that your cardboard was recycled, it can be recycled again. Are you doing anything with the glass bottle that has a return service, or can you make it easy for the label to come off so it can go into the recycling bin? Just all those small elements which is super important because that's when it's in the consumer's hands.
I'll ask you guys, like personally,
Yeah.
and I'm going to give you a controversial opinion.
Okay.
But I don't care, to be honest. Most of the time, unless I hear that they're dumping oil into the river, I don't care. Like, because I assume most of the time people are going to recycle their cardboard and, recycle their glass. And, you get rid of your grain, they usually go to the cows or they go to the greens bin or something.
Happy cows.
But, like, I don't care that the distillery's powered by solar or, I don't care that the bottle is 2 grams lighter. And I don't know. I sort of sit this point where I'm like, sustainability is good, but then I'm like, how much is too much when it's just like, it just sounds to me like marketing jibber jabber. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I've added solar panels. I got the right inks that are biodegradable. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit old fashioned in that way, but I don't care when I'm like purchasing something, But what are you guys genuinely?
Yeah.
How far do you go on? How much do you care about when you're purchasing something?
I care.
Yeah.
Because I've worked in that space. But I care across all my like household, like, all the cleaning products. I just try and like not buy any like fast fashion. So I care, like it's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it also isn't, if you've done it right, I'm like probably that group that will pay more. Like,
Yeah.
I pay way too much for cleaning products, but but it makes me feel good. And like, there's nothing, I care. But it's not just in alcohol, it's across all elements of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I feel that too. Like at home, I'm recycling, I'm putting the greens where they're supposed to go. Like I do try and make an effort. We do buy some green cleaners and stuff, but of course price matters sometimes, you know. So, but like sometimes then I look at a video and I'm like, oh wow, look at this mountain in India that's covered in garbage, or this river that's been polluted and is just full of oil. And I'm like, I bet you that's my entire life of recycling wiped out in 1 square meter right there, Like,
one's like hundreds of small changes, like, doing the right, 100 people doing the right thing equates to like big change.
Yeah. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I mean, I want to care more. I genuinely want to care more. But, Sarah, you're absolutely right that if I can, part of that experience, if that makes me feel good, I'm looking for those. Yeah. I didn't know that there was a name for it. So putting myself into the trend, not knowing that I was being trendy. But, going like, you know what? Yeah, I do want to feel good. I am looking for those little moments, and where can I find the little celebration? And if that purchasing makes me feel good, because I know that Sandy Mount has so many of those things going for it, being the carbon zero, and it's got the solar, and they've got the tree planting, and they donate to community health initiatives. Like, all of that makes me feel good about, like, and so I feel good even before I've opened the bottle and put anything into the glass. And
I think it's great. I love it. But I'm still going to buy Sandy Mount because I like the product. You know what I mean?
Well, you can't just be riding on your sustainability story.
Yeah.
You have to be a great product as well. So it's almost like if you're standing at shelf and there's like, you're trying to choose between 3 whiskies, and then you see Sandy Mount? You see Sandy Mount and you remember the sustainability element. You're like, oh, it just could be that little differentiator that at that critical moment of choice that makes you pick up the bottle and put it in your trolley versus something else.
That's true.
And it must be said, it does not exist in isolation, that if I did not enjoy their whiskey, if I did not enjoy their gin, the sustainability story isn't enough for me. Like, I'm buying it because it's sustainable, but I don't really enjoy it.
Would you buy it because it's the only carbon neutral gin if you didn't like the gins?
Well, I'm going to buy it because primarily number one factor. I've their Ladybird Navy Strength gin is phenomenal, and I enjoy that. If I didn't like the liquid, I wouldn't be buying it. But liking the liquid and having a great sustainability story, well, that compounding factor.
Yeah. And also going back to Gen Z, it's important to them.
Right.
So it's a big part of like their value set, and it drives like their decision for choice. Like they will be looking for sustainability credentials.
Right.
And if they hear that one brand is just not caring, they'll turn their back on it.
Yeah. I shouldn't say I don't care, but I do say
You've got
because
this-
now
yeah.
I'm backed into a corner
Try
here.
to
But
cancel
but
yourself
but there's
here,
other
Tom.
things
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
more interested in. So
Yeah.
and why I say like it has become so it was really big in Europe. It was big in the States, and now with like Trump being in power, there's just a lot of those sort of initiatives have gone backwards.
yeah.
In the States, and so now Europe is pushing it, and it's almost like it's easier to do business, and there's more cash around in the States because they're not caring about it so much. Will they care about it in the whoever maybe hopefully in charge next time round, and maybe not Trump again? It could become an important topic again. And
Yeah.
it could be more of a conversation. I don't really feel like it's a big conversation like it used to be.
Yeah, and I think most people agree it's important, but I think maybe where I'm miscommunicating is just that I do think it is more of like the final decision. If you're looking at those
Yes.
3 bottles, it does come down to one of them, but I feel like sometimes it just gets too much
Yeah.
emphasis
agree.
on sustainability, and you're like, okay, but is it good liquid? And that's
Yeah.
sort of where I come down on the
Yeah, and I
hammer
agree.
for
Like
you
it
know?
has to be a phenomenal liquid.
Yeah,
You can't just be like, I'm riding my sustainability wave.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because you might buy it once, but yeah, you like first and foremost, like it has to be a great whiskey. Like it
Yeah.
has to be a whiskey, and then you're like, great. Then it does all these other great things around it. I'll keep buying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very much the foundations. Like, again, with like my cleaning products, they have to be good cleaning products, especially because they're more expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I do think like it is great when you see something that's good and they're using everything and turning
Yeah.
it back into stuff. I'm like, great, this is fantastic, this works out. But I don't know if it needs to be everybody's brand at the same time, their entire brand, But
No, but I also don't think you should be turning your back on it as well. Like
no.
Yeah, like because the thing about it as well with Gen Z is they kind of assume that all brands are doing it,
yeah,
and it's just if you're telling the story, you've got to make sure that you're doing it very authentically and you're doing everything right, because they will they check. Like everyone now has like a supercomputer in their hand, and you can just stand there and like a couple of prompts to like ChatGPT or Claude, and you've got the whole sustainability story of a brand and where they've gone wrong and where they've gone right.
Right. That's good. That's really good. I'm kind of at the end of those questions. I've got a few rapid fire questions, but do you have any questions
No,
about the
let's.
future?
We can go into rapid
Well,
fire.
before we do that, then
Oh.
let's open this one, and
Oh.
we'll just have a quick sort of drink break. This is exciting because this is a new whiskey from Southward Distilling, which is in Wellington, and Southward has traditionally been so far a gin distillery, which is, really cool to see that Frankie and the team have finally released something. And she's gone to, because she's also Canadian, and she's gone to her Canadian roots and gone for a rye whiskey,
Oh,
which
I
is
love
cool.
a rye whiskey.
I have had the pleasure of trying this last year, and it's pre-release. But I haven't tried the actual final release, so I'm quite excited to see how it is. And it has been aged, as far as I can tell, entirely in Pinot Noir barrels, local Pinot Noir barrels.
entirely.
Entirely,
Wow.
yeah. So this is where you're going to notice the big difference in this one. Ooh. So, which one's your clean one? This one?
It's got a great colour.
Yeah, beautiful color. Is this your clean one?
Yep.
And
Oh, you can
Gotta
smell
remember
the
which
Pinot
one.
on it.
Straight away.
yeah.
That is leaping out.
And just so we've got the ABV on it, it is 45.7%.
45 points.
So this is their first ever whiskey release, and as far as I can tell, they're also looking to do more and more now, like a more constant whiskey releases. So they're not just a gin distillery anymore; they are now a whiskey distillery, and I'm very excited for them. But yeah,
Yeah.
that pops out, doesn't it? Eh?
Straight away.
And I remember at Dramfest last year, at some of the talks, I remember them saying that one of the things they loved about coming to New Zealand and trying the whiskeys was the Pinot Noir finishes, because they just leap out leaps and bounds more than other country whiskeys do when they're finished in those. It speaks to our wine industry as well, of how good it is.
So distilled April of 2022 and then bottled in May of 2026.
Wow. So yeah, 4 years old. It's pretty good.
Which is a long time to be spending. Yeah, that's not a finish. That's a full maturation.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a for New Zealand. That's pretty good for a first release being 4 years old. Doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
And of course, being a rye, it's there. Rye spice, yeah. Gosh, you can taste that Pinot Noir. Have you tasted it?
No, I haven't yet. I've been waiting for Sarah's
Oh my
reaction.
gosh.
No, it's two flavors. It's a Pinot and rye.
Like proper Pinot Noir flavor in it. It's
Yeah.
not just like a hint of fruit. It is
Yeah,
drinking Pinot Noir with whiskey.
but like a heavy Pinot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what she had told me too when she was saying is this is meant to be sort of a gateway whiskey
Yeah, I
for
see that.
for people who are like into gin but don't really want to move to whiskey, or they might be into wine and don't want to move to whiskey. And this sort of, blends a gap almost.
It almost, like it drinks like a really heavy, like winter red wine.
Yeah.
That, and then all of a sudden you just get a bit of a...
Bit of the spirit spice and the spirit hit, yeah.
It's an incredibly full-bodied glass of
Yeah.
wine. It's not a thin Pinot.
No.
It's almost, not quite, but it's almost reaching that kind of cocktail in a bottle character,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
that, it's got body, it's got fruit, it's just got that pop of rye spice coming through at the very end there.
Yeah.
It's not a full-on kind of rye bomb.
Brandy, like brandy-y as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you could do some really beautiful, like, long serves with that.
But equally, a little bit of simple syrup and stirred over a large ice cube, and
Yeah.
and even at just shy under that 46, I think that body would hold it for
Oh yeah.
an old fashioned pour.
Yeah, absolutely it would. I think it's got
And why? I mean, maybe there is a story there that Frankie can tell us. Why 45.7 and not?
why not 46?
Yeah, and why not 40? That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
point-
what happens
at
yeah.
0.3%? Explain that to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if that's my only question, I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot going right there.
Well, Frankie, one day you'll have to tell us. All right, well, while we
Rapid
sip
fire
on that,
questions?
let's hit some rapid fire.
Okay.
Go.
This is just like general questions out of
Okay.
the blue. So what drink trend do you think is overrated?
I think the espresso martini, I feel, was a bit overrated.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
Yeah.
why are we going to the bar? And quite often where you see it on the menu as well is like at the end of a meal sort of like cocktail. Like, why are you getting all jazzed up on like your espresso martini? Which even like, and I love a martini. Like, you can't even taste the alcohol in it. Like, that's my sort of like beef with it. And then you have like a night of like 2 or 3 quite sickly espresso martinis, and then like you go home and you look at the ceiling until 4 o'clock.
That's just it. That's always been my problem with it.
Yeah.
It's the caffeine. Yeah.
But in something like for brunch, I think it's a great option. And a beautifully made espresso martini. In the UK, you're actually finding some bars are pouring them off the tap now, and they're getting like that really beautiful like nitrous
head,
head on
yeah.
them. Oh my god, it's
Yes,
so
I've seen
good. I'm really into those. Like, they're great. But yeah, the ones where I just always think that like all bad decisions that start with an espresso martini when it's gone midnight.
Yeah. You don't need it at that time, eh? All right, what do you think would be an underrated drink trend?
Ooh, underrated drink trend. I would have said, but I feel like now it's becoming quite... I just love a Negroni. But I feel like now like Negronis are like becoming a bit of a thing. So I've always thought it was like a really underrated cocktail. And for me, I think a Negroni doesn't just need to be like a digestive. Like, I feel like it could, like, you can have it before dinner as well. I just think it's a It's a beautiful. I just love the flavors of Negroni.
I don't think I've ever had a good one. Like
Oh my god, a great Negroni. So
Yeah.
Campari do Negroni week, which
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be a thing here, and the different flavors that people play with within the Negroni as well. It's just like it's a great base, and then you can play around with it, and you can just do some like awesome. I feel like with an old fashioned, it's not unusual to get like a fat washed old fashioned, and you can have some like different fun flavors within it, and like you can do that with a Negroni as well. I don't know if maybe it's the bitterness in the alcohol, like, because it's a punchy drink, but if you just let the ice melt a little bit, like give it a minute, like for me it sits in that like sip and savor and like enjoy the moment, like relax, and like that for me it's a day cap drink, which I know goes against what I said the day cap drink should be, but it's a great way to like sit down and like it, because you have to drink it slowly, so it's like I just really love it, and to your point, I wish that there was bartenders that can make a better Negroni. And actually, can I have two?
Sorry?
Can I have two
Could have two,
drinks?
yeah.
My other drink that I absolutely adore and I get so excited when it's been made well is a Vespa. I love a Vespa.
What's a Vespa?
A Vespa is
That's the James Bond cocktail,
it's a James
right?
Bond cocktail,
Yeah.
yep. It's a martini that's 50-50 gin and vodka with the bit of like vermouth, and I search high and low quite often for a beautifully balanced Vespa. And if you get a great Vespa, it almost all you taste is the vermouth, and the alcohol was quite soft.
Right. Yeah.
But
Are you on the Negroni trend?
See, I want to say a year or so ago, it felt like every drinks influencer on TikTok was talking about Negronis.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the lady from, not the Dragon Show.
The Shark Tank or something, was it? Or
No,
or that?
the
Oh. I know what you're talking about, like Game of Thrones.
yeah,
and stuff.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like she talked about her favorite drink, which was a Negroni, but had something.
Yes.
Like,
That was, and that became the trending sound. Was
yeah.
her talking about Negroni?
Yeah.
But whether again that was watching something happening overseas and kind of waiting for that to reach here, it really sounds like we need to follow you to a great bar and have us to where do we need to go to ask for a Negroni?
Yeah.
You find us a good Negroni in Christchurch, and we'll be there.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm
I've had
not
a
on
couple
board
of good
that trend.
ones. I almost feel like I make a better one at home.
Yeah.
And I've had one good Vespa in Christchurch, and I've had a couple of terrible ones. When you have the bartender ask you how you make it, you're like, oh god, here we go.
Never mind.
Don't
Never
worry about
mind.
it, don't worry.
I would say, like 5 years ago, I would have said like the penicillin, but like now I think it's become quite mainstream as
Yeah.
well. Eh? Like that's a pretty popular one. What spirit category would you watch in the next 5 years? What do you think is going to be coming? Because I feel like we've seen the whole evolution. We've seen the gin craze.
Yeah.
We've seen now the whiskey craze is come and gone. What's
Yeah.
next? Yeah.
So, like, some of the went to some of the big drink conventions in Europe, and gin's been and gone, but they're talking about the gin revival.
Oh.
So gin's coming back, but again with a slightly different slant to it. So I wouldn't shy away. The bubble burst, but I don't know if we'll ever get back to where it used to be. I think, like, looking at how all the other, again, like thinking about a category that needs a bit of innovation, like potentially like vodka. Like I feel like that's one that we've like disregarded for quite a while. But in terms of the actual like category that I'd be like putting money into would be tequila.
Yeah.
Like it's just such an interesting category. Like you have again like that ritual. You've got the shot. You've got the margarita where there's like so much happening within the margarita and like lots of different like flavors that are happening there. Like Cointreau's even brought out its own like RTD cans where, and I don't even know what tequila they're using. I think it's just like a
Generic one,
generic
yeah.
whatever like non-flavored tequila, but they've got this whole range of like beautiful different flavored like RTDs in a can with the Cointreau, and like when you've got the mixer element bringing out something like I think you need to almost stand up. But and then how it's expanding and growing, like, because I always lump mezcal and tequila together, and then you've got like just that whole. I don't think we've quite got to the point where we've started like really appreciating the sipping tequilas that are available. Like you can sip tequila the same way that we sip whiskey. Where definitely the tequila category like blew up a few years ago, but I feel like it was only more like the cocktails. We haven't quite got to like, there's a whole premium level of super exciting tequilas, and then if you start playing within the world of like mezcal, their sipping mezcals are like phenomenal. Like you close your eyes and you think you actually are drinking a whiskey. Like it's a really fun category that I don't think we quite have reached to its full potential yet.
Yeah.
But if we put a pin in that for a second, because we are making a phenomenal amount of gin in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We're making vodka, we're making whiskey, we're even making rum, even with the rum, the molasses being imported. There is the Kiwi Spirits in Takaka that is growing agave here.
Haven't they bottled one?
Oh yes,
yeah, quite
but
a few.
if you are paying upwards of $1,000 for a full-sized bottle, it just strikes me as that this is one trend that, again, like, okay, even the agave spirit that is being grown here, they're not allowed to call it tequila because, and that's fine.
It's got to come from the Tequila Valley.
Yeah.
It's tequiwi, right? Tequiwi.
Yeah, they're calling it tequiwi.
Yeah.
But
Oh, really? That's cool.
how... Is this a trend that can be copied in New Zealand? Like even Tom, with you making corn spirit, and you're calling, it's bourbon's Kiwi cousin, and we're not calling it bourbon, but it's still something that we can emulate here and make our own. Is the agave trend something that can be replicated here, or is it one that has to be imported?
Oh, I think it's a branding exercise. So we just need to rebrand it. And we've done that with the sparkling wine in New Zealand. Like we've got some phenomenal sparkling wines that are as great as some of the champagnes. And it was just a branding exercise. And like some of the sparkling wines here, like they've like hefty price points and people are paying it. So it's just rebranding and rethinking, and maybe an education process as well. I don't think a lot of people realise that in order to be called tequila, you have to be blue agave and you have to come from the Tequila Valley, which is a very small region. You just, 1K out, and then you've got like mezcals.
Yeah.
It's just I think we almost need to, like, I love the name that they've come up with, but as a category that we just need to spend some time thinking about what should we name it here, and then is there actually I think it's a global challenge as well. Like maybe that's why the whole tequila trend didn't quite reach its full potential, because people weren't too sure where to go outside. Like I don't think a lot of people even realise that mezcal and tequila are pretty much the same thing. They're just made from a different type of agave and a different, well actually some mezcal is even made by the blue agave. It's just it's not from the Tequila Valley.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's an education and branding piece. So what do we call it? And is there like some of the South American like agave spirits, like they are doing so well overseas. Some of the South African ones as well are also doing phenomenally.
Oh, okay.
So it's it's definitely a market that has loads of potential, and as consumers, back to that, like they want a cocktail or a drink that has like an interesting flavour profile. Tequila and agave based drinks do that. They're not the same as like drinking like a gin. Like there's definitely like a bit of like there's that umami and the exciting like element to it. You can layer phenomenal flavours with those type of like spirits as well. So you can do great cocktails, but then also you can sip it. Like no one's really sitting around sipping gin. Like you can actually have a really great, sit around and have a beautiful agave, mezcal, tequila, whatever you want to call it, experience. Which that's such an opportunity that we haven't quite explored yet.
See, I've got at home a bottle of Ardnamurchan single malt whiskey that has been aged in a mezcal barrel.
Oh.
It's great. It's absolutely great. So I think asking Jeremy, like, what are you doing with your tequila barrel? is that a collaboration or a partnership?
Well, he does
or
make his own whiskey
Yeah.
too, though. So.
Yeah, no, he does, but that's a very different exercise.
Be quite cool.
But that is, I see. I know we could. I know, so in Takaka, and he's doing it under greenhouses.
Yeah.
So I am sure that there will be places in Northland, in the North Island, where it could be grown.
Yeah.
But, certainly a logistical exercise to get it planted, get it to any kind of commercial kind of quantity.
I reckon we should find maybe more of a local plant. I mean, cabbage trees, I heard, we know that from Captain John Cook, was that his name?
Yeah,
James.
James.
Come on.
It's not my history here.
Because once you sort of like move out of the blue agave and move into more of the mezcal, like there's a way more flex and play you can have within the category.
Yeah. All right. What do we think consumers misunderstand about the drinks industry? Do you think there's something?
Yes. So here in New Zealand, I think there's a massive misunderstanding around spirits and ABV and alcohol percentage. So whenever I used to tell people I work in the spirits industry, probably more like my mum's age group, but I feel like it touches all age groups. I get told quite often like, oh gosh, oh no, I don't drink spirit. And I'm like, but I've just watched you drink 3 glasses of wine. It's just like a real I feel like it's a very New Zealand approach to drinking, where they've got they're absolutely fine with drinking like high ABV beers, fine with drinking I don't know 4 or 5 beers, but would just never touch a vodka lime and soda or a gin and tonic. And they're like, oh, Mother's Ruin, I can't drink that. I'm like, there's Mother's Ruins because people were making it in their bathtubs and drinking it straight, and it was it made them blind and a bit insane because they had the alcohol percentage wrong. It had nothing to do with what it was actually drinking. Also, that was at the turn of the century.
Yeah. That's a really good one. Well done. Vice versa, what do you think the companies, the brands get wrong? No. Yeah. What do the brands misunderstand about the consumers? Do you think there's something there?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Obviously, they're clearly very data-driven, so they must understand them. But
I suppose one thing they're always trying to crack a ritual, and sometimes the amount of times I sit around how are we going to make this into a ritual, whether it be getting the Captain Morgan's tankard and creating a cheers and a slam down the table before you drink and things like that, where we just need to stop forcing a way of drinking on consumers. If you've got the data, you know what they're what are they worried about, what are they thinking about. If you've seen I think a great example of an awesome trend at the moment is those buzz balls, which are these pre-made RTD cocktails, and there's almost a Christmas ball type thing. And I heard there's a gin brand in Spain, I can't remember what it's called right now, it's Celerex maybe, they're looking to create their own variation of it. It's just just let the trends happen, let the people do their thing, don't try and be part of the ritual, and don't try and create a ritual if there's no ritual there. If you have no business playing there, just because the data says yes doesn't always mean that you should do it.
The number of times, and this applies to both spirits and other clients that I've had, that have said, all right, we need to have a branded hashtag, and this is going to be the hashtag that our consumers use, and then they come up with something that is 5 words long, and I'm sitting there, nobody is going to use this, and then we're like, this will be our branded hashtag that we own, and I'm like, dude, nobody owns a hashtag. You can't force that upon people.
No.
Trying to have that conversation. So trying to say, all right, this is going to be how we tell. Unless you can get something like the Fernet Branca coin, which kind of became its own thing, and then you build on that, great. But trying to start something like that when it's
so inauthentic.
Coming
so
from
awkward.
the company.
It's so again, you should just let the data decide, lead your decision, create something awesome, and then just let culture take its course, and then build a campaign around it. Like they can mobilize fast, and then just like it's so easy to create a social campaign around something that is people are doing like in a very authentic way, rather than like the forcing rituals, forcing like trying to be like become part of the zeitgeist. It's like no, just like you can't. No amount of money you pay an influencer is going to make it cool.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
All right, rounding it out, what do you think is the most exciting thing in the drinks industry, like period? What's the most exciting thing to you?
Ooh, the most exciting thing. So, I think there's nothing beats, and we were talking about community before, like nothing beats going to, like getting people together, going to a great bar that has a beautiful back bar. Like I've got lots of thoughts on back bars, like what's there in the organisation and the lighting. Got lots of thoughts on that. But the like going to a bar that just does everything right. Like they've got, I find here in New Zealand that very few bars really communicate what they are by the bar themselves. So whenever I find a bar that screams cocktail bar to me, has a great back bar, great vibes, and I sit down with like my friends and we're like family or whoever I'm there with, colleagues, and then we just get a beautiful cocktail, and it's just like nothing beats that. Like that for me is like that it's not about the alcohol, but it's about like bringing us all together and having a moment and everything just like working and playing out the way it should.
Yeah, I think that's a fair one. Yeah.
It's especially if you've got a small group together and everybody orders something different, and then everybody
100%.
sits there and admires.
Yeah.
And maybe if you have that kind of relationship, you'll say, "Hey, can I have a sip of yours?" I'd order that next time. Or yes, it can. Yeah.
I had that 2 Fridays ago up in Auckland, and even the ice was square, and I had a Negroni. It was a great cocktail bar experience. I didn't care how much, like the drinks cost more than the dinner that we had. I didn't care. I just like loved it. It was like everything about it, like the lighting, like the back bar could have done with a bit more up lighting, but that's okay. Like the bottles are in the right order. Like there's nothing worse that kills me more than bottles being like put together incorrectly in the wrong category, and just everything about it worked, and I loved it.
That's an experience, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the experience that I love. Like I'm sure not everyone has their own sort of experience expectations.
Yeah. So are you working with drinks brands right now?
I'm working with like a couple of distillers here in New Zealand, and I'm still in contact with some of the guys overseas. But so I am. I'm working with them. I'm doing a lot of like strategy pieces, I'm really wanting to start working with more of the brands here in New Zealand, and like just help them to like think a little bit differently, and like maybe create some strategy as to how they can be engaging with like bartenders and consumers to enable them to start like selling more and thinking a bit bigger. Like that's what's probably like really exciting me at the moment.
I think we've got the same question here. If somebody has heard this and wants to pick your brain, how do they get in touch with you?
We can probably via LinkedIn's probably the best way, and I can put my details. I'll give them to you guys. Put them up on the show notes.
Yeah,
cool. But like Sara-Jane Robertson on LinkedIn's a great way of getting hold of me, and I love this stuff. Like I could talk about this stuff for days, months, and years probably, and have.
I think we need to have her back.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not think this is a mine we have fully tapped.
No, we have not.
Yeah, but I do. I just think there's like so many amazing liquids here in New Zealand, and if I can help brands to sell more here in New Zealand, but also like sell more like abroad, I think we need to start getting over the borders and get some of these liquids out there. Like there is a real appetite for New Zealand spirits. Everyone knows New Zealand wines. There's a couple of New Zealand spirits that are really like paving the way. And when you go, so I spend a lot of time going to big alcohol conventions, and if I say I'm from New Zealand, they will always be like, oh wow, I mean, either had tried something when they were here or seen something at a speciality like liquor store in the UK. Like it's definitely getting a name out there, and there's like so much opportunity for brands that are willing to get out there and give it a go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've got, before we close out, I
Yeah.
have one piece of general business that I didn't bring up last time. So, people who have listened to our episode about the $400 bottle, and we said, is there somebody that would pay somewhere in the realm of $200 to $300 a ticket if they knew that everything was going to be in that premium price space? And so I put that question out there at my last tasting event, and the overwhelming response was no. It was a very, very big outlay. But they did say that they would be willing to pay more. So everything I do, I try and keep my entry level as affordable as possible. But they said they would be willing to pay closer to $100 a ticket, which is certainly getting up more than what I would normally charge. But if I told people up front that I had a $400 or a premium whiskey and told them up front that that was going to be in the lineup, people would be willing to pay closer to $100 a ticket if they knew that there was going to be something premium on there. So I have taken that feedback on board. That was a good piece of data-driven customer research there, and I'm very glad I did not invest in $400 a bottle.
That's why you don't listen to Ty and me.
It was it was an isolated room where you and Ty put up your hand and said, yes, we would. There might have been one or two others.
Yeah.
And in fact, like, I talked to one of the other people that was there at the tasting, and afterwards, and he said, on the night I said no, but after thinking about it, I would. And I was like, oh, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, but I think also, great feedback, and I will take that on board, knowing, because I'm constantly aware of my pricing and my niche and where I'm playing in, but knowing that, I think doing an entirely premium lineup really isn't me. That's not what I built my brand on. But in being a champion of... Oh, that was something else. And they said, would it be all New Zealand spirits? And I think at that point I was saying yes, because there is nobody playing in that space. I'm not competing with anybody else. And they said, oh, nah. If I knew that there was going to be some $400 scotches in there, then yes, I would. But if it was just maybe not.
Enough, yeah.
And so but I know that there are others who are playing in that premium Scottish category. I don't need to do that because they're already doing a great job. But yes, I will take that on board, and it has now given me a great opportunity to start talking to some of these local distilleries and saying, hey, can I please get trade pricing on your most expensive product?
Can I please have your baby for less?
And I'm not buying a case. I'm buying one bottle, which is not a very attractive proposal.
Yeah, but you might encourage someone at your tasting to buy a case.
Well, I don't know about a case, but even if they sold a couple off
Does
of...
happen.
Which, if you are... it is one thing if you are looking at a bottle of spirits and you spend $80 and you don't like it and you think, all right, I'll swallow it. You're nobody that I know is going like, I'm going to take a chance on this $400 bottle of whiskey, and if I like it, I like it, and if I don't, oh well. You really better hope that you like it. And if somebody likes it, then great. But that was some feedback on another episode, and I have gotten some feedback and some answers. There we go.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. That's good.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Congratulations. No, I'm glad you shared it, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you very much for showing up and chatting
welcome.
to us. It's been really eye-opening.
And I think we will absolutely have to do this again, because I am...
Maybe we'll do it at a bar next time and try some cocktails, because
yeah.
you made me want to try cocktails like a bit more, like, for sure. I want to get out there and try some now. So
Yeah, you want some zebra striping and some Gen Z
I think so.
pina
Yeah.
coladas?
In fact, like, I haven't had a pina colada. Who knows how long? Like,
Do we have to start vaping as well? 'Cause I really don't want to. I don't want to get into that.
No. Well,
No.
we
Okay,
could
okay.
try the vodka in the vape and see how that goes. I've heard that's a trend, right? The
Ooh.
Is it?
steam alcohol, like inhaling something like that.
No.
I don't know. Anyway,
Is it because it's cleaner and healthier?
maybe. I don't know. Well, thank you everyone for listening. This has been fun.
Yeah, this has been
We
great.
won't
Thank
dawdle
you.
off any
Thank you
longer.
for having me.
And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.